Welcome to another episode of the Cosmetics Design Clean and Ethical video series. In this episode, we're talking about clean beauty from farm to face. When it comes to clean and ethical beauty, ingredient sourcing, and especially transparency and traceability are paramount. And relatively recent progress on ingredient transparency from fragrance suppliers like Palette Naturals and Sozio, as well as from carefully managed CBD brands, has highlighted what's possible when it comes to supply chain and ingredient transparency. But of course, it's not just the brands and the suppliers who need assurance of ingredient sourcing and processing practices. Retailers and consumers need to know and trust that the products they buy are in fact being produced in accordance with some determinate standard. This is where third-party certifications and vertically integrated beauty brands really stand out in the marketplace. I'm Deanna Utrusky, editor of CosmeticsDesign.com, and joining me today is Emma Dawes, technical specialist at the Soil Association. Thank you so much for being a part of today's episode, Emma.
Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Absolutely. And I'm also joined today by Yves Carr-Momperous, CEO and founder of Creole Essence, a vertically integrated hair, skin, and body brand that sources signature ingredients from Haiti. Thank you so much for being here.
Deanna, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited to talk about clean beauty, ethical beauty from Creole Essence and to the world.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I guess. So we'll get started with a presentation from Emma Dawes of the Soil Association. Go ahead, Emma.
Again, thank you so much for asking me to talk about Cosmos and how that fits in with clean and ethical beauty in the series From Farm to Face. So who are the Soil Association and what is Cosmos? The Soil Association is the UK's leading organic certifier in food, drink, cosmetics and textiles. And it's a founding partner of the Cosmos standard because we saw the true need for an independent, global, organic and natural standard. Products are expertly checked with an audit by an inspector each year, which looks all the way through the supply chain at the farm, factory, ingredients, chemical and physical processes used, cleaning materials, all the way through to packaging. With exotic ingredients such as argan oil or shea butter, Cosmos certification guarantees that ingredients and products meet the same organic and natural standards wherever they're from in the world. So why organic farming for beauty products? In organic farming, there are far less pesticides used. So in non-organic farming, there's 320 pesticides that can be routinely used for farming. Also, organic is naturally different. So research has shown that there are more nutritional values, for example, higher antioxidants in organic produce. Also, organic farming increases the amount of carbon dioxide absorbed by the soil, and therefore this is tackling the climate crisis. UK for organic farming is also better for fewer pesticides and therefore providing homes for bees, birds and butterflies. And higher animal welfare standards are in place. So if you have an organic honey barn, then the bees have been treated much better and with respect. So why certification? Consumer demand is high for this. The Soil Association conducted research last year on brands and consumers, and over 50% of them said that they looked for logos for peace of mind that the product has passed independent testing. And again, over 50% said they look for logos to support causes that they care about. Also, certification is a sustainability goal generally for certified brands. So over 60% of consumers want to buy from purpose-driven brands who advocate sustainability. 87% of brands feel passionately about supporting environmental initiatives, and over 90% say that Soil Association certification boosts their sustainability credentials. And last but not least, there are no legal standards for beauty products. So 50% of the people we asked didn't realise that the beauty industry isn't regulated, whereas the food industry is regulated, so there's no comparison. And that means that brands can have as little as 1% organic content and still claim organic, clean, or natural. So Cosmos in numbers, there's over 18,000 certified products, over 14,000 certified ingredients and approved raw materials, totaling over 33,000 products and ingredients across the world. And in terms of who's certified, or they certify mainly, so 75% of products are certified to the organic standard over natural, interestingly. The Cosmos certification means working with nature from the farm all the way through the supply chain to the final cosmetic. Cosmos prohibits animal testing, irradiation, genetically modified ingredients, controversial chemicals, including parabens and phthalates, synthetic colours, dyes or fragrances, nanoparticles, and misleading labelling. Whereas Cosmos promotes sustainably sourced organic and natural ingredients, environmentally friendly processes, non-toxic and biodegradable ingredients. It has a minimal of petrochemicals that are allowed in the final cosmetic product of 2%. Yes to minimal packaging and maximum recycled content, protecting wildlife and biodiversity, and environmental management, including cleaning chemicals and waste management. So moving on to dealing with the problem with palm, 70% of cosmetic products contain palm derivatives, and consumer awareness is growing. The World Wildlife Fund suggests that over 300 football pitches are cleared every hour for palm production, and the orangutan is now classified as critically endangered, and many indigenous people are displaced. So why not boycott palm? Palm oil is a highly efficient producer per hectare. Much less land is needed, and comparing it to the second most efficient producer, coconut, twice as much land is needed for that. So Cosmos supports certified sustainable palm because millions of people depend on palm for their livelihoods, and the supply chains are set up already, and RSPO, the Round Table of Sustainable Palm Oil, is well recognised. So there's also a plastic pandemic going on at the moment, sadly. We all know that oceans, beaches and marine life are full of plastics. So Cosmos have guidelines on the use of packaging. We require reduce, reuse and recycle packaging. There is a list of plastics and materials which cannot be used, and no over-packaging is allowed. So I'm now going to show you some cosmetic products that are certified and have interesting, innovative packaging. So on the left, there's soap encased with card from the FSC, so Sustainably Managed Forests. And the deodorant cream is in an aluminium tub. Aluminium can be recycled limitless times. People are also moving to glass because this is quick to recycle. For example, even the roller ball here is no longer plastic, it's made from glass. And this French lip balm is made from a compostable tube made from post-consumer waste and organic adhesive glaze with sunflower oil-based pigment. And this Danish brand has swapped the bottles from mineral oil to bottles made from sugarcane plastic, and sugarcane absorbs carbon dioxide as it's grown, so better for fighting climate change. And also brands are using recycled biophotonic or Myron violet glass, and this lets a specific wavelength through to preserve the product. So here are some email addresses. If you want to certify, you can go to Go Organic. If you have any questions, you can ask me at eDoors. And there's the Cosmos website address if you want to find out more information. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much for that, Emma.
Oh, thank you very much for listening.
Now we'll hear from Yves Carmon-Perouse about her vertically integrated brand, Creole Essence.
Deanna, it's so great to be here. I'm so excited to talk about Creole Essence and clean beauty. Creole Essence makes natural and organic beauty products with ingredients from Haiti. Our signature product started because I had what I call a hair catastrophe. I was going to an event and I wanted to look my best because I was in the market for a husband. I asked my hairdresser to straighten my hair, which she did, and she did such a great job that I got a husband. The bad news is when I washed my hair the next day, it all fell out. Many women, over 40%, experience some form of hair loss, and women's top 2 beauty complaints are dry and damaged hair, followed by dry and unhealthy looking skin. And this is why Creole Essence was born. Our product philosophy is that we create safe and effective products that are perfect for textured hair and that addresses the need of those who are dealing with dryness, whether it be due to styling damage or those who are experiencing hair loss either because of age, because of some other ailment, eczema, and other challenges that may arise. So like many natural products, we don't use hexane, bleach, and other additives that are normally found in products such as castor oil. One of the things that we're really proud of at Creole Essence as a vertically integrated product company is that we're able to source ingredients that are really hard to find. Haiti is not known by many for its natural resources until now. Most people know of Haiti because of the earthquake that we had in 2010. Our purpose as a company is to ensure that those who are seeking to discover amazing ingredients that are really organic and natural that work, that they're able to do so through Creole Essence. Our signature ingredient is Haitian castor oil. We have Lang Lang, Haitian moringa oil, and Haitian vetiver, which is prized all over the world and is considered to be top-notch grade in perfumery. Also, other great ingredients that you will find in Haiti is citronella, cocoa, neem, as well as Haitian coffee. Which, believe you me, in addition to putting it in skincare and beauty products, it is amazing to drink. So I talked a little bit about my hair catastrophe, and the number one thing that I tried to find when I went to pharmacies and when I went to stores was Haitian black castor oil. And unfortunately, those that I found were refined. They came mostly from India or China, which are the world's producers. And the main difference about the way castor oil is made in Haiti is that it is done by hand. It's been a process that has been part of the culture for over thousands of years, where the women go through the process of picking the seeds by hand, sorting through them, roasting it, and then extracting it through a mesh. That gives you this lovely roasted natural brown oil that we've tested and found that it just has enough ricinoleic acid or more ricinoleic acid often than those that are processed. And that's really what makes Haitian black castor oil such a unique ingredient and product. Also new to the scene, our newest baby, as I like to say, is Haitian moringa oil. Moringa oil was brought to Haiti by missionaries who wanted to find a really innovative way to feed kids. Well, of course, anything that is good internally is great for hair and skin. And many of you may know moringa because it has over 90 different vitamins in it. And very similar to the Haitian castor oil, it is extracted without hexane, bleach, and other additives. And the pure oil is used in hair and skincare. In addition to amazing ingredients that works, one of the things that we're proud of Creole Essence is our social impact. We're actually known for it. We've been visited by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, to President Clinton, to other dignitaries who really wanted to see a model of a company that not only did good for those who work for them, but also had an impact on the world. And you may think, well, Ifkar, you're selling shampoos and conditioners. How do you have an impact on the world? Well, one of that way is economic development. I talked a little bit about the earthquake in Haiti and how most people probably know Haiti for one stat, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Well, the fact that we export over 90% of our products, we've helped to create an entire industry in the country. That's not what I set off to do when I started Creole Essence. I just wanted some Haitian castor oil to grow my hair back. But in doing so, the fact that we have to work with farmers, the fact that we have to work with producers to extract the oil, and we have to export it and bottle it here in the States, we cover the entire supply chain. And in the next 5 years, due to our expansion at all 1,300 Ulta stores, we are on track to create and have an impact on 30,000 families in the country. And I have a personal goal of being one of the largest employers in the country. Women empowerment, we mostly hire women, and that's not just because we're biased and think that they do better work, even though I think that's true, but it's also because the skill set of making castor oil traditionally is one that is passed down from a mother to daughter to grandmother to aunt. So women normally have that skill set. Lastly, environmental restoration. When you plant castor seeds, it helps to curtail soil erosion, deforestation, as well as greenhouse gas emission. So all that comes from having a demand for hair and skin products. Lastly, I will say diversity and inclusion is extremely important for Creole Essence. We serve women with textured hair. And often when you look in the market, you cannot find clean beauty products that serves her. And her with textured hair, she tends to be a woman of color. And we've all read the stats that show that over 80% of products geared towards women of color, Black women in particular, have hormone-inducing and other ingredients in them that are really detrimental to health. So we're proud to serve a community that is seeking to discover natural products that works for her, but that has often been avoided. And here, this is a quick chart to show a bit about our social impact and who some of our partners are. And we closely monitor the 17 goals established by the United Nations in terms of world goals to really have an impact on the world. And you can see here everything from women producers to employing farmers to the environment. Creole Essence covers all of that through its supply chain. And lastly, I just, again, want to emphasize when we talk about our tribe, which is our customer base, we really make it a point to make sure that we're speaking to her, and she's diverse. She's coming to us because she has a problem and we're helping to solve it. And we are super proud to ensure that there are ethical brands who don't ignore any segment of our world or community, because that's how we're going to make the world a more inclusive and safer place. Thanks so much, Deanna.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciated, especially you're talking about the link between social impact and supply chain. I think looking at in an ethical piece, that's really the piece that matters in the sourcing and processing stages of creating a clean brand, and having it all in-house, right? Having a vertically integrated company and being able to watch and monitor those sorts of decisions and practices makes really good sense. So I'm glad to hear you talk about that. So the first question I want to ask you actually comes on the back of something you said in your presentation. You mentioned the cosmetics industry. You said something about it not being regulated, and I just want to ask. I mean, in fact, there are substantial numbers of regulations and laws that pertain to the cosmetics and personal care industry, but to me, it sounded like you were suggesting that maybe it's not adequately regulated when it comes especially to defining natural or organic ingredients and standards for practices in that space. Can you speak a little bit more about maybe the sort of regulations that you think are lacking in the industry?
Sure. So in Europe, there is the EU directive regulation that monitors food, and companies have to strictly adhere to this. And in Europe, there is no equivalent to this. And so people can use the word organic and natural with actually no law behind them, and just a tiny percent in products. And this can create greenwashing for brands and labeling, for example.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes good sense. Thank you for clarifying there. The next question I want to ask you follows on from the fact that the Soil Association is a UK-based nonprofit, and Cosmos is a certification initiative from that nonprofit. I'm wondering if you have information on how widely consumers maybe around the world recognize Cosmos certification, and maybe how many brands with no retail presence perhaps in the UK are actually applying for it monthly, annually. Some such figure would be helpful.
No problem. So consumer recognition is growing because Cosmos has been around for quite a few years now. There's over 33,000 products certified across the globe. So we've got 10 certification bodies that are able to certify to Cosmos organic and natural, and they are present in Europe, Australia, and Asia. There are also products in 60 countries across the world, and I think that's about 1,500 brands. So consumer awareness and the number of brands is increasing rapidly.
Excellent. Excellent. So my next question for you then, Emma, is actually about biotechnology. And before I ask it, I want to add just a little bit of context. In your talk, you spoke about both palm oil and plastics. I know startup businesses like C16 Biosciences, for instance, are using biotechnology to make palm oil alternatives. And similarly, of course, there are all sorts of research initiatives, competitions, and new businesses working toward what we call a circular economy, some of which are using biotech, right, to break down plastics, or others are actually creating plastics now from non-petrochemical sources. So my question for you is, where does biotechnology fit in here? How does the Soil Association assess biotech ingredients and materials? And are they, in fact, as marketing often suggests, are they more clean and ethical than more conventional inputs?
So Cosmos does allow biotechnology ingredients. We have many approved ingredients that are from fermentation and enzyme hydrolysis, etc. So what we do check is whether the microorganism, so the fungi or yeast or bacteria, is genetically modified. So if it is, then that's a no-no in Cosmos. And also we check the feedstock as well. So that has to be from either natural or vegetable or microbial origin. So it is important to check certain things within biotechnology, but providing those criteria are met, then yes, it is permitted in Cosmos.
Generally with biotechnology, especially here in the States, when a modifies the DNA of a microorganism, generally they call it editing, right? The DNA. So they make modifications to the DNA so that the yeast or the algae, the bacteria can produce a different molecule than it maybe does as it occurs in nature. That's really not considered genetic modification, as I understand the regulations here in the States. But I'm guessing that's what you mean when you say no genetic modification is allowed for the microorganisms. Is that what you're getting at?
That's right, yes.
Okay, excellent. That helps. So one final question then for you, Emma. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on what's missing in clean and ethical beauty. Maybe what does the industry need that's just not possible yet?
Well, the biggest deal for us and consumers and brands, I think, is the fact that a regulation and a directive is missing. So, like I said, in most countries, there just isn't enough regulation. So people are misusing the words organic, natural, clean, etc. And this is definitely causing greenwashing and confusion amongst consumers.
Excellent, very good. As I think about your brand, it's kind of in my imagination, right? There's a point where you realize you're building Soil Essence, and you're going to have to visit these co-ops. You're going to have to test the harvesting, the process, said that people are sorting these seeds by hand. I feel like you're going to have to go look at that personally and figure it out. And so I'm wondering about, if you're thinking about establishing criteria, who got to decide what is clean and ethical brand? Can you talk a little bit about that decision-making process, what the oversight is of these cooperative farms, and sort of how you built that piece of your business?
That's a great question. So, some people think, oh my God, Creole Essence arrived and it's just been such this success. Well, for about 2 or 3 years, I was actually on farms in Haiti. And Stefan, who I talked about before, used to say that I would come for visits in the United States, but that I really lived in country. And that's because as we were building Creole Essence, there are all these new things that we were learning. Number one, there were no guidelines as to how to even, really appropriately process castor oil, and there was nothing that was written down. These are all these different oral traditions that were there, and we weren't going to get farmers and some of the producers to write it down. So we actually worked backwards, and we spent really 2 years doing that. We spent 80% of our time in the facilities with the cooperatives, and also we had our own facility. And that was the trick. I think that was the key thing that helped us learn and to be able to communicate efficiently, because you can't go onto someone else's property or business and tell them how to run it, right? That's a big mistake that we made in supply chains. We learned that early on that wasn't going to be effective. But because we had a parallel facility where we were also learning, it allowed us to try things, to make mistakes, and to come up with more efficient ways, and then be able to share it with our producers to say, hey, look what we just did. And we were able to improve yields by 50%.
Right.
We sorted the seeds. So we did a lot of R&D on our own, but we also took time to ask lots of thoughtful questions. And because we are native Creole speakers, right? We're not outsiders. We speak Creole fluently. I knew that I wasn't going to get a step-by-step 1, 2, 3. I knew that as she was going, I had to ask questions, and I had to explain to her why I needed this, and I needed to be the one to document. And I say I meant the team in that communication. So it really was a 3-year process of learning how to communicate well with each other, establishing trust, and also having a parallel facility that was no more equipped than theirs. Like we're starting from the same solar panels coming in. There is no, main electricity. We're using the same machinery in order to understand the process. And that's how we came up with our rule book and guidebook to document. And we also worked with 3 different co-ops so that we could see, were there variations and what are the similarities that across the board we're working.
Excellent. I love it. That's all very, very important information. Thank you so much. I know, looking, at different businesses in recent months, thinking particularly about the virus crisis, some brands have found that having what I would consider the diversified supply chain to be quite valuable. If they're able to source the same ingredient, maybe from different supplier companies, maybe from different countries or even different regions of the globe, therefore been able to really keep their manufacturing going at a profitable rate. I'm wondering if anything has changed for you in terms of how you think about ingredient sourcing coming out or coming through. We are not out, coming through this virus crisis.
Well, one of the jokes that we have internally is that Haiti prepared us for COVID, because most people are operating under uncertainty, with very little resources, and they're working in a manner that is actually our day-to-day, right? We work in a developing country. So, we, prior to COVID, there were political protests in the country, and we had 12 months we had to strategically plan when our cooperatives and when our team could leave their sites in order to bring oil to our shipper. And then our shipper had to really think through around timing when they can get product on the ships without, getting hurt. So we've dealt with hurricanes, we've dealt with natural disasters. So we're constantly having to plan and have foresight months on end, and we keep much more inventory in terms of our core product coming from Haiti than other brands probably have to. So it was ironic that when COVID happened, I had no issues with Haiti. All my issues became manufacturing or bottling here. And our biggest one was our fulfillment house, which is why I'm in our warehouse now. We actually took back our fulfillment because we were much more efficient because we're focusing on us as a company versus several other companies with which fulfillment houses have to do.
Right.
So we ended up just taking everything back, but all of that were lessons from our early days as a company and working in Haiti. So we just had to tap into that resiliency and being very flexible about what is versus how things are accustomed to running, which I do credit Haiti for that type of malleability.
Yeah, no, and that's really interesting to hear you say, because I think one of the challenges as businesses are looking to move towards more clean and ethical beauty is finding ways to disrupt the status quo, whether that's, the fulfillment piece of it, or, this is the way it's always been done in our ingredient supply chain. Yes. So in a way, the business you built had already done all that disruption. And like you're saying, it turned out to be an advantage in a very uncertain situation. That's so interesting.
Indeed. And I also am so grateful for our customers because I do believe as a category, hair care went up throughout all of COVID. And I think we had such engagement from our customers online, and it just enhanced our relationship with our customer base. And the fact that they got to see us behind the scenes, we showed it all, the pretty, the non-pretty, where we're boxing things up, we're taping, we're getting them out, and they were patient. And we kept communicating. I think that brought us closer to our tribe because they're like, okay, we've seen what happens in Haiti. Now we're seeing what happens here in the States and seeing that even though it gets to the States, it's not easy. And that was helpful as well from our tribe's perspective to see it all.
Great. Excellent. So just one final question then. I'd love to get your perspective on what you think is still missing in terms of clean and ethical beauty today. What does the industry need to do? Maybe that's not possible yet, or maybe that most businesses just haven't flipped on.
Yes. So, there's so much I can say about that. I still am flabbergasted by when we're working with a filler and we're still sourcing our own essential oils, like even basic things that we might take for granted or that we think is very normal. Here in the States, it's not. I have to source my own French lavender and rosemary peppermint and bring it all together. It's ironic how much of a logistics business beauty really is versus business of beauty. But the other thing that I'd be remiss if I didn't say, we've always had a focus on being inclusive. And I think the clean beauty industry is so far behind in this inclusivity. I think with Black Lives Matters, it really shined a light on the work that needs to get done, where honestly for a industry that prides itself on taking bold chances, on doing the things that others don't do, we flat out fail when it comes to diversity and inclusion. And if you look at mass, Target, Walmart, they have products that are geared towards diverse communities. But if you walk into a Detox, a Credo, a Cap Beauty, any of our clean beauty hero stores, you don't find products that works for all women. So I think that's our big focus as a brand as well. It's on the fourth after economic development and in the environment and women empowerment, making sure that the clean beauty industry is inclusive and that she can have an experience when she walks into the stores that's just as amazing as any other woman is key, because she is being targeted more than anyone else with products that are riddled with ingredients that are harmful, whereas the clean beauty industry, this is exactly what we're supposed to be here to solve. So I'm looking forward to seeing that change in 2020.
Yeah. I like what you're saying there, because I'm hopeful that this clean and ethical movement in beauty is still new enough that beauty can get it right. But a lot of things do need to change. You pointed out some some really important aspects on in what we might think of conventional clean beauty, and that's a lot for improvement, for sure.
Yes, indeed. I'm excited about it. I think there are certain conversations that we've started to have, or conversations that happened like a year or 2 years ago, that I'm seeing progress and movement on.
Right.
And I think there's no shame in saying we made a mistake as an industry, or that we need to do better. I think the most important thing is to take action and have really tangible, viable steps that is really going to help clean beauty and ethical beauty live up to everything that it's supposed to.
Yeah. The next episode of the CosmeticsDesign Clean and Ethical Beauty video series will focus on brainstorming the future. We will hear from forecasting experts about what the future of clean and ethical beauty might look like. Presentations will come from Helga Herzig-Lavaca, Senior Futurologist at Hint Futurology, and Dave McCoggan, Chief Strategy Officer at AI.Agency.